Ba-ba-da-ba-ba-ba. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Sunday Jamz with Shak and Sam, where we exchange the songs that we've been listening to the most this week, and then we chat about them. So let's jam.
My song this week is The Carney by long-time favourite band of mine and repeat submission, Nick Cave and the Bad Seeds, off his fourth album recorded in 1986, Your Funeral, My Trial. I'll get into more of it later. I don't want to go into too much about the track yet.
Sam, take it away then.
So, the first thing that struck me about this track was the strong sense of mood and setting that was created by the keys and the xylophone in the intro. I like how Nick and the band have used this kind of instrument that's synonymous with the setting of a carnival, so namely the organ. But the sound's been warped in such a way to create like a really dark, perhaps more frightening mood, apt for the content of the song's lyrics. But it's the xylophones, I think, that struck me more because I think they're the most kind of unique addition to this scene that the band makes musically. But the focus of this track here seems to be Cave's vocals and the lyrics that the story describes. And overall, whilst I remained interested in the story, I'm not sure from the Nick Cave that I've listened to, I'd call it one of his best. The overall meaning of the story wasn't made entirely clear or obvious to me.
No, nor me, but I think it was kind of supposed to be a bit cryptic, you know. Like I definitely got the vibe where it was like, okay, this is clearly like a bit of a weird story, you know. It's kind of
I kind of like that it's
I definitely like it.
It's like it adds to like the
surrealness,
ominous feeling. Like it's like, is there even a meaning, or is this just strange shit?
It's very surreal. It's very like Lynchian in that sense, in the lyrics and in the sounds. You know, it's very Lynch-esque.
Yeah, like you can look for a meaning, you can find a meaning, but you can just see it as like a slideshow of like just kind of unpleasant images as well.
Yeah, certainly the imagery that was conjured was interesting and evocative, but I did walk away kind of going, well, what does that mean? I'm kind of just sat here a bit confused.
Mm-hmm.
But regardless of that, Cave's vocals, as usual, have a fantastic quality in terms of narrative delivery. He keeps me interested more than the lyrics normally would. And to return back to the music a little bit, there's this introduction at some point in the track, I couldn't quite pinpoint where, what I presume is a toned down guitar, and I mean as in like guitar tone as in rather than volume. That kind of chugs behind the previously mentioned instruments.
Yeah.
And I thought that was a really kind of noteworthy musical aspect of the song, in that it really helps to further intensify this image of a dark, strange, warped carnival.
Yeah, and there's the one bit as well when everything kind of stops and the rain starts in the song, and it's just that trudging, that like doomy, boom, boom. It sounds so
just
good.
Chugs along, and So overall, I think the track is good. I'll certainly remember it, and I'll probably come back to it, but it's not in what I consider to be one of the better Nick Cave tracks
that you've heard.
Mm-hmm.
You haven't listened to that much of his early stuff yet, have you?
No.
We haven't listened to that much of his stuff, full stuff, really.
Oh man. I wish I could just be that ignorant to Nick Cave's discography again.
so you could
Just
experience.
rediscover. God.
Yeah, I was a bit, apprehensive coming into it because I was like, oh, I do like quite a bit of Nick Cave, but the early Nick Cave, just by genre and what kind of genres they usually described as. I was always like, not sure if I'll be into that, not sure if I'll like that. But I have to say, I thought this track was pretty flames, to be honest. I think this is one of the best Nick Cave songs I've heard. There's it's funny because we were talking a couple of weeks ago about Depeche Mode creating that twisted carnival aspect, and although I wouldn't go as far as to say that I prefer the Carney to Little 15, I think they're both really great tracks. I don't know which one I'd say I'd prefer, but I would say that I think the Carney creates the atmosphere a bit more potently than Little 15 does. I mean, I think it's trying to more, it's more trying to be creepy. Little 15 is it? I don't know. It's just in a different way creepy, but this is very like overtly trying to get that atmosphere and just succeeds really. I like around the second half of the track, Nick Cave does a lot of things where he like doubles the vocal tracks, and he'll have like spoken word on the main track, and then he'll be like singing on the backing track or something, or he'll have like whispering as the backing track while he's doing his spoken word or he's singing or something. I like the way he kind of implements all these different kinds of vocal styles. Like mostly you'd probably describe it as spoken word. Mostly it's pretty atonal in the way he delivers a lot of the vocals, but I like how he breaks into like proper melodic singing at parts. And there are these little whispers in the background that come in. I just like the way he kind of implements all those different kind of styles of vocals. But the spoken word is definitely what creates the vividness, in the lyrics and the conjuring the atmosphere. It's very bluesy, very folky. Which you're not surprised about because it's early Nick Cave, so obviously he's kind of closer to those roots, I think.
Yeah, and also speaking of the spoken word and the storytelling and everything, Blixer Bargirl, the guitarist, who is playing that down-tuned trudging, he does the voice of Bellini.
Oh, okay. Right, okay.
Bury this lump of crow bait.
Oh yeah, that's a sick part. I love that. I love that line actually.
The whole thing with the horse.
Yeah, it's really cool.
So good.
Really. It's so like I really would love to see an animator do an animation for this. Like it really feels like that kind of David Firth animation type thing.
Something that I love about Nick Cave stuff is that it's so easy to visualize.
Yeah, for sure.
It's so well described, and the atmosphere is put across so well. Like in this valley where like everything's just turning to sludge with this rain, and
the sludge bit again was another bit I had to note down as a highlight because the way he delivers that, tilting slowly as the firm ground turns to sludge.
Yeah, just like this caravan on like a ridge, like the ground's giving way to it and stuff. It's just fucked up.
And he can just mirror the disturbing imagery in his vocals so well. The way he controls his delivery is such a good. His way of kind of indicating where we are in the story and how intense things are getting, and I think that's really cool the way he can do that.
Yeah.
The only other thing I was going to talk about was the percussions. Like the xylophone. There's kind of like military-esque drums which go through the song, which add a very hoarse and rigid feeling. On top of that, you get like pans or bins or some shit being hit, making like thin metallic banging sounds in the background. Just like random little parts, it's not like a consistent thing, but you just get randomly like that kind of sound. The xylophone action that we've already talked about. Yeah, man. I love the range of sounds here, and yeah, he's done an amazing job in like capturing that fucking clown spooky shit atmosphere going on. So yeah, I'd say it's up there, man. In the Nick Cave songs I've listened to. Especially outside of The Good Son and Skeleton Tree, which are probably my two favorite albums. this is probably the best Nick Cave song I've heard.
I'm glad you liked it. I think that's kind of surprising after how you didn't really like Tupelo.
Yeah, I don't know. Tupelo, Tupelo feels too dramatic. This doesn't feel like I don't like the melodrama aspect that's in Tupelo, but this doesn't feel melodramatic. It feels very like a controlled, creepy atmosphere, but it's not like he's not like I don't know. It's
this
just
track
not,
felt far more organically brooding than Tupelo.
Yeah, just more brooding in general. Like less like I'm in a theater, more like I'm actually in this weird carnival place.
God, I could talk about Nick Cave for fucking ever, man.
I'm pretty sure you say this every time we do it.
I do, because it's like, I could just, there's so much that hasn't been said, and I don't want to just go on forever. I like the harmonica intro that sounds all like distant and lonesome, which might be the Carney himself playing his harmonica lost and far away from his caravan and all of the people he works with.
Yeah, I love that as well.
I really like you said, the percussion. It sounds really like organic. It sounds almost like bones clattering together or something. It's got that dark. I don't know, just like it was like made on the spur of a moment in like a basement in like some dingy atmosphere vibe to it. And regarding that, I saw a bit from an interview published in 1994 about the Carney, where Nick Cave said it's only a story about a horse dying, essentially.
Okay.
According to him, it was just meant to be a straight story. And when he recorded it, everyone else had gone home. There was a bit of piano music that was written. And when it came to the singing, I just had myself an armchair, a table, a typewriter, various sorts of paraphernalia around me, hundreds of lyrics, a microphone, ashtrays, lots of alcohol, and just kind of sat there in an armchair the whole night, made up the story and sang it into a microphone. It was an enjoyable song to create.
Never can you write bars if you don't have some paraphernalia lying about.
Exactly.
It's definitely an essential.
Various sorts.
Always creates the hottest bars.
But yeah, I thought that was quite interesting because, like, according to him, I don't know how true it is, but like, it wasn't supposed to have much like deeper meaning to it. But I feel like the atmosphere creates that meaning almost.
Yeah, I didn't really read deeper meaning. I more just read. I don't know. It's like what you said about the slideshow of images. It was more like it was just very potent. It was just very like you say, you could really imagine it. It's not like, oh man, what's the philosophical?
It's more of a feeling.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's definitely more feeling. It didn't have me like brooding over, life or something.
I can't help but find a deeper meaning when they literally try to bury their sorrow. Stuff like that, it creates depth itself, even if it's not there. Like, when you put this much work into a song, like, it does itself.
Yeah, I mean, you don't have to put depth into a song. Like, things are deep, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Like, if you're talking about a thing, then there's depth there, unless you're talking about, like, fucking face, titties, booties, toes. Unless that's your song, then there's probably some depth in there. My song this week was a song called Plastic 100 Degrees Celsius by Sampha. Sampha's a British guy, London dude, singer, does kind of soul-y shit. Before, like, 3 days ago, I had no fucking idea who he was. I think he might have been on a Drake album once.
This is from his debut album, though, isn't it?
Yeah, right. So I think he's known for features, but he released his first album this year, just like last month. And this is the first track on the album. So yeah, take it away.
I didn't know he was a Cockney.
But yeah, Cockney's a very specific part of London, isn't it? But,
I can hear that now.
Yeah.
I love how it enters with like these intimate strings, like plucking and making this like catchy, elegant melody, and there's like the backing vocals like that sound really thin and airy. as they just gently brush over his proper vocals that sound like really soulful and just really just nice and full. But he sounds really humble in his singing as well. Like, he's not singing to sound really powerful and show off. It just sounds like really expressive and genuine.
Yeah. He is a really good singer, and he could do that whole vocal gymnastics shit. It just feels more genuine, like you say, a bit more humble than just like, look how fucking amazing of a singer I am.
And I think a similar thing can be said with the more instrumental choices as well, because it almost sounds bare at some points, but there's always at least some interesting synth noise going on or some cool vocal snippet or something. But he doesn't overdo it like with his voice. He does it in a way that adds texture to the song without being like pretentious or overwhelming, or like, he's not just doing it for the sake of it. He's doing it to like really add something to the song. I don't know. It's just like it never really stays in one place. It feels like it's moving around a lot, but at the same time, like, it does have like these catchy refrains and the chorus and everything.
Yeah, I put like he manages to the song just like you say. It feels like it's in a constant state of feeling fresh, just because of all the different blemishes and all the different sounds that he uses throughout. You're experiencing something new at every point in the song. You know, it just feels very fresh the whole way through.
The lyrics I thought were pretty like introspective and interesting, with like the metaphorical plastic melting under light, one drip at a time and everything. It's nice. And then it's got the dreamy synth outro, and it sounds like, and there's like a radio voices sample. It sounds like a pilot coming into land or something. Yeah.
Well, I think because in the chorus he says, "Houston, can you hear?" I think it's that whole astronaut.
It's up in
type.
space.
Yeah.
And then, like, as it fades, he's like coming back down to Earth, and then there's like footstep sounds at the end, like he's fully landed. It's like a nice journey. It's like you feel like you're fully with him. He draws you in. It feels nice and introspective, and just it's a really good introduction to an artist.
Yeah. This was the first song I heard from him, and I was like, "Fucking hell!" Like, wow, that was fucking sick. Like,
yeah, I hadn't heard anything like this before, but from like hearing this and maybe one other track, I feel like I already know him really well.
Sam,
I really liked it as well. There's not too much musically that I can really say other than what Joe has said, but I really liked how the song kind of deals with his feelings of anxiety, and I liked that rather than go for a kind of typical image of like a higher power, whether it's God or whatever.
No!
He brings in the metaphor of an astronaut contacting Houston. That is the sample that you were talking about. It's Neil Armstrong walking on the moon. And yeah, I thought that was a really unique image that I don't think I've heard before. And secondly, it was nice to hear, because this kind of falls under alternative R&B for me. And it was nice to hear, because we discussed in previous weeks how Six Lack,
stale.
So Six Lack, actually kind of talks about relatable problems, something that you might actually feel kind of sorry and understanding for, whereas The Weeknd, for example, just talks about I can't deal with all these bitches and cars being thrown my way. What is a man to do?
Yeah.
And
I think there is a kind of like, sorry, just to go on a little tangent. There is a kind of weird way in which The Weeknd does have this kind of unique thing, because it's like it's like a depressed like person who has it all in a sense. He's like, I've got all this shit and I'm just still not happy, which is an interesting aspect. It is interesting angle on the whole lavishness but it's also, like you say, just not relatable to most people.
But it was cool for him to use this medium to explore his anxieties. And I haven't listened to the rest of the album, but I know this is the introductory track, and to kind of lay down, like, yeah, I'm quite anxious on your first track. I can only imagine the rest of the album gets to who he is as a person.
Well, yeah, I mean, it is, as well as being alternative R&B, it is definitely soul, and soul is very, it's able to be vulnerable. It's not like, it doesn't shy away from feelings on the sleeve type thing.
But yeah,
it's in the name, isn't it?
It's a really good track. I'll probably check out the rest of the album from this.
Mm-hmm. Cool. Pretty similar stuff. I think the strings that you were talking about, Joe, they sound very Asian to me. Like a traditional kind of
I
East
haven't
Asian.
thought about that. I'd have to listen to it again.
Yeah, that's the vibe I got. I mean, I don't know if they are. That's just the kind of sound that I got from it. I love how he uses his voice in this song. I love all of the samples, all of the voice samples. Like the floor of the song is this kind of like vocal moan, and then on top of that, you have all these different layers of like looped bits of like scatting and just little. It's very much like vocals as instrument in this song. Like. It's like semi a cappella, like with Bjork and like Majula. It's like half that, like half of what's going on in the song is like his vocals doing lots of different things, and then the other half is like the electronic shit and the strings. But a lot of it is like different ways that he manipulates and implements his vocals, which I think is really cool. And I just really like how electronic the song is. It feels like electronic music that's being, I don't know, I can't think of a word. I guess I'll just say experimental. I don't think this is like boundary pushing, electronica, but it's just, like I say, it's just fresh. He stepped outside of the kind of box of how people might traditionally use electronical aspects in a R&B or soul song. And he's like, well, no, I'm just going to use the electronica in a more forward-thinking way. There's something very forward-thinking about this song, or at least very modern, contemporary about this song. It's, you'd never hear a soul song like this, like even 10 years ago, I don't think.
It certainly had a fresh sound to my ears.
Like you were saying about it being fresh, like there's this whole new musical passage that takes you out of the song, like the whole last few minutes of the song. It's like he completely changes, even though it still feels like tightly thematically linked to the main portion of the song. But it's like he brings in this whole new kind of vocal line when it's just like him and the strings and the space-esque astronaut Neil Armstrong vocals. And there's like a little pulsing synth as well. But like, he just changes it up, but in a way that's still very like, it's not like completely changing the song, but he just changes it up and he just never lets it get stale. He never lets it get like repetitive or anything like that. So yeah, I really love the song. I think I'd recommend people check out the album. It's definitely worth a shot.
My track this week is Dew Point by Christodoulou. Probably butchered that, but it's a Greek name and hard to pronounce.
Yep.
And this track comes from the album Risk of Rain, the soundtrack to the game of the same name. And without giving too much away, we all like the game. We've all played the game a fair amount. And the soundtrack, I think, is pretty good. So I'll let these guys
fill you in.
Yeah, I didn't actually write that much for this, and I was originally gonna go in and I was gonna be like, okay, let me try and break down this song in terms of, the different aspects it uses, the different sounds that it employs and stuff. And then as I was listening to it, I was like, I don't really want to do it. And the reason why is there's only really a couple songs on the Risk of Rain soundtrack that for me can ever be detached from my experience of playing the game, and still I'm able to really enjoy them a lot. Like one of them is that one that's named some French name, and I like it because it's kind of like an ambient electronic song, and it's just really like chill vibe. But most of the songs, I feel like out of context of all the memories of playing the game and the amount that I really love the game, there's not that much about the song that I really love that I can detach from that, I think. Like, I find it really bizarre to try and decontextualize music like this as just music, music that was kind of sounds like it was created as for a complementary purpose. I find it quite weird to try and make it just music again. So there's this whole flood of emotions that come with this song, but it's not really because of the song, it's because of the complete package of my experience with this song, which includes so many other, aspects. There's so many other dimensions to listening to this song for me.
That's a problem when trying to analyze a soundtrack.
Right, yeah. So it's literally like impossible for me to just experience it as the music. And when I try to, I feel like I'm taking something away from the experience of the song. What's the point in me, decreasing my enjoyment for the song by trying to kind of, close it off from everything else and just see it as a song?
I think it would be wrong to not acknowledge that it is meant to be consumed with everything else.
Yeah. So really what I have to say about this song is it's very good at controlling the atmosphere that this song usually occurs at. Because games, just like films, are not really you can't really imagine them without the music that accompanies them, It's so important. Like, for example, the music to Braid. Like, I can't imagine.
Yes.
Braid, it's so important to Braid as a game, the music that comes along with it, And some games don't use music that heavily, but I think especially with indie games, they really, want to engineer music as a kind of aspect of the game. And that's all I really want to say about it, I think.
That is all essentially what I've got written down. It is hard to talk about and dissect because we all know it so well as part of a bigger experience. I like the whole soundtrack of the game because it has these vibes of exploration and discovery and just wonder. It just sounds really epic, like you're discovering some kind of ancient ruin, but it's in the future in space, and there's these fiery electric guitar solo-y bits popping in and making it all super epic and triumphant.
I definitely get kind of astronaut, or just experiencing new worlds type vibes from the overall soundtrack.
It's just a lot of how it is put together does sound kind of glitchy. It just even the bass melodies, the bum ba bum ba bum bum ba dum bum bum bum, it sounds really
I think a lot of the tones of the track just really sell Future to you.
Yeah. Futuristic and just, I guess, kind of just video gamey sounding, but not in a lame way.
Yeah.
I don't have a ton to say, but without the soundtrack, the game would it would be losing a massive part of its atmosphere, and a huge part of the flavor that is playing Risk of Rain just wouldn't be there. It's become a game discussion.
It's probably one of, I put Risk of Rain alongside a game like Hotline Miami. Those are two games that are considered to the soundtrack is just absolutely essential to the experience of the game in both those games.
Super integral.
Yeah.
Imagine trying to play either of those games with the sound off.
Check this out. Oh, I love this song. Pretty damn good, huh?
Yeah, that's pretty good.
You're just not
Exactly,
gonna.
Yeah,
I don't know why anyone would do that.
exactly.
They're like 12 and they like mute it and put on like Linkin Park. That's like a fucking crime, man. Goodness me. Sick game, sick song, sick soundtrack, sick vibes.
It's a shame that you both said that it's very hard to decontextualize the track, and I say it's a shame because I feel very much the same way. So this might be the least informative track analysis we've ever done on Sunday Jamz, but you'll just have to trust us, I guess.
If all the people who goes to listen to this song because of us, I'm gonna say to you right now, you're just not gonna get it. You gotta go and play the game. I'm sorry to be that guy, but you just don't. You're just not gonna experience what we experience when you hear this song. Like it's just part of a bigger thing, you know. Even if you like the song, it's just like, you know, you can't experience it the way that we experience it because you don't have that context, you know. So it's like there's no point us trying to break down it just in regular musical terms because that's just not what the song means to us.
We are like Pavlov's dogs.
Precisely.
We hear the music and it just triggers the mindset of like, shit. Now let's get into business.
Exactly. Yeah. We are dogs. You are not dogs.
Like there are certainly more tracks on the album that you would possibly set, like as you said, you could enjoy separate from this context. And I think this track certainly has that element to it, but the context certainly helps in elevating the music past just its audio quality. I
think I said this when I chose the Carbon-Based Lifeforms song, but I feel like Carbon-Based Lifeforms could make like a whole Risk of Rain soundtrack if they wanted to.
I think you said that.
Yeah.
I feel that.
They have super Risk of Rain vibes.
But yeah, consider this track portion, 1, a recommendation for the soundtrack, but 2, a bigger recommendation that you check out Risk of Rain so that you can listen to this soundtrack in context.
Thank you, everybody, for listening. If you guys listen to the songs, what did you think of them? What have you been listening to lately? Let us know. If you want to check out the playlist, it contains every single song that we've ever selected for Sunday Jamz. And if you want to check out the tracks that we talked about today, links to all those things are in the description below as always. Subscribe, like, share, comment, thumbs up, share again, share twice, always twice.
Tree time.
That's it. Thank you. Bye.